Dear students, in this video I will give you an idea about how to create a database application using SQLite. SQLite is an open source database which supports standard relational database features. Android has built-in support for SQLite database implementation. Using SQLite, you will be creating a local database which can run under the operating system of your mobile phone. For the implementation of the database using SQLite, you don't require any server, ODBC or any internet connection. So it is very easy to work with SQLite. It is a lightweight database. To develop an application using SQLite database, you will be using two very important classes which are SQLite database and cursor class. SQLite database class is available in android.database.sqlite package and cursor class is available in android.database package. And using these two classes, you can perform all the SQL operations like creation of table, insertion, deletion, selection of rows from the table. All these operations can be done using these two classes. So we will see what are the steps that we have to. You will be developing an application of this form where you have to read a roll number, name and mark of a student, and there are 5 different buttons in this user interface: add, delete, modify, view and view all, which can be used for various operations. This application is designed in such a way that after entering roll number, name and total marks, if you click on the add button, the record will be automatically added to the database. If you want to delete a record, just enter the roll number and click on the delete button. If you want to see all the records inserted in the database, you just click on the view all button. Then you will be seeing an output which you can see on the, which will look like something that is shown on the right hand side of the screen. So we will see what are the steps that we have to do. The first step that you have to do to create a database application is you have to create an object of SQLite database class. Here we will be developing a database having the name student.db, and within that database we will be creating a table named student. So after creating an object of SQLite database class, you have to call the method open or create database. This method is meant for creating a new database if it does not exist. If it already exists, it will be opening the database. It expects 3 arguments. They are name of the database. Here it is student.db. Then you have to specify the mode as private because your database is expected to run in our local machine. Then null means we are not using any factory method for creating the database. Then after creating the database, the next step is you have to create a table in that database and you have to specify its different fields. So here we want to create a table having the name student with 3 fields. That is, we want to store roll number, name and mark. So for that, if you want, you can declare mark as an integer value. Here I have defined it as varchar, no problem. For creating a table, we will be using normal create table statement, and you have to execute that create statement by using exec SQL method. Exec SQL stands for execute SQL statement, and here the SQL statement is given as a string to this method. So using these 2 lines, we will be creating a database and we will be creating a table. So detailed description about the functions are given here. You just go through these statements. So these are the steps that we have to do mainly to create a database application. You have to create an empty activity. So associated with activity, there will be a Java file and XML file. In the XML file, we will be defining the user interface. That is, we will be keeping some text boxes and edit boxes for reading the input from the user. Then we will be creating some buttons for various operations like adding record to the table, deleting record from the table, to extract some rows from the table, or updating the records in the table, like that. Each button is having a specific functionality. In the main activity, that is in the Java file, we have to define two different methods, onCreate method and onClick method. In onCreate method, we will be creating objects corresponding to the different user interface elements which we have created in XML file, and also we will be creating an object of SQLite database class for creating a database and table. Okay. In onClick method, we will be writing code for handling different buttons. So here you can see the code, that is in the main activity. First I am creating an object for all the user interface elements and also for the SQLite database. Then within onCreate, I am getting the reference ID of all these user interface elements, and also I am registering onClick listener for all the buttons. Using open or create database method, I am creating a database named studentDB, and I am creating a table named student using SQL method. After reading input from the user, to add the data to the table, you can use insert into statement. I hope you are already familiar with insert into statement. You might have learned that in DBMS paper. That is, insert into table name, values. Within parentheses, we will be specifying values for different fields in the table. So here also you are using execc SQL method for implementing insert into statement, which is given as a string to the execc SQL method. To perform deletion also, we have to use delete statement, delete from table name, where you can specify a condition. Here, if you give a roll number, details of a student having that particular roll number will be deleted. So delete from table name where a condition, that is the syntax that we have used here. Exec SQL method is used for performing deletion operation. For updation also, we have to use execute SQL method, and you have to write the update statement as a string. Cursor is an important class which is necessary for implementing a database application. That is, when you want to retrieve records from a table, it will be returned as a result set. That result set will be available in a cursor in table format. So there are some functions which are available in cursor class which can be used for manipulating the records which are retrieved from the database. First method is getCount. It returns the number of rows in the cursor. Cursor will be containing the result set of a database query. GetColumnNames is another method which is available in cursor class, which returns a string array holding the names of all the columns in the result set. Using getPosition method, you can get current position of the cursor in a result set. Then getString method helps you to get output of a column or field as a string. GetInt is a function which helps you to get output of a retrieved column as an integer. Move to first helps you to move the pointer to the first position of the cursor or result set. Move to next will help you to move the pointer to the next position in the result set. Close will help you to release all the resources that is allocated and close the cursor. If you want to perform a selection operation, or if you want to retrieve records from the database, you have to use row query method. The selection statement should be given as a string argument to row query method. For other type of statements like creation of table, insertion into database, deletion from a table, and also updation from a table, you will be using exec SQL method or execute SQL method. But for selection statement, we are using row query method. Row query method will be returning a cursor as an output, which will be stored into a cursor variable C. Then using move to first, we can keep the pointer to the first position of the result set. Then from there, we are printing those values using get string. The code that we have seen just now is meant for retrieving detail of a student having a particular roll number. After retrieving the details, it will be shown in the text box. The name and marks will be displayed in the edit text boxes. If you want to see all the records from a table, then what we will do is we will be using this particular code. First we have to execute select star from student statement. It will be retrieving all the records from the student table and it will be storing that in the cursor object C. First we will check whether get count is equal to 0. Get count will be 0 if the table is empty. Otherwise, we will be retrieving the records and with the help of a string buffer class, it will be appended to the buffer. We will be appending roll number, name and marks of a student. It will be done for all the records retrieved from the table. Here, show message function is meant for displaying the output on the screen. Normally, you will be using a toast dialog box for displaying short text messages on the screen. But here you want to display all the records which are retrieved from the database or table. For that, we will be using a different dialog box called Builder. Builder is available in Builder is a built-in class that is available in a package called Alert Dialog. So using this particular dialog box, you can display the output in a dialog box which is having three regions. They are title, content and action buttons. What should be the title of the dialog box? That can be specified using set title, and what message should be displayed can be specified using set message, and using show method we can display all the records which is available in string buffer class object. Clear text method is a user-defined method for clearing all the text boxes after performing insertion operation or any other operation. Using clear text, you can clear all the edit text boxes. So here the code for all the buttons are shown. Just go through these code. It is self-explanatory. If you have any difficulty in understanding the code, I shall explain it when you do it in lab. Just go through the program which is available in your Google Classroom. Thank you.